Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Programming with a Purpose. Today we are going to create such onboarding screens using SwiftUI. So first let's create the project and some folders. So I have created some default folders, models, data, view models. Even you can group the views inside the folder name views, or you can any other structure that you want to follow. But just for simplicity, I'm following this structure. Let's create the first file, which is an onboarding page model. So first, the ID, which is important for most of the structs and objects that we are going to iterate inside our view. Then a title and a description, that is basically the text that is presented on an onboarding screen, and an image name in the form of a string. Next, we are going to create a data file inside our data folder. You can also name it as sample data. So here we are going to provide it some static data that we want to show on our onboarding screens. In most of the apps, this data will be fetched from the server if you want to change it again and again. Next, I'm going to paste here some of the data that I want to use on my onboarding screens. I've shown here some of the images that I have basically downloaded from a website. I'm going to post the link of the website in the description box. So next we are going to create a simple view model that is going to contain only one property, which is going to track the current page we are on while we are swiping the screen to complete our onboarding process. So basically onboarding is a feature that is a part of every app. You can create it simply like this, or you can create a more complicated onboarding screens like that I have created inside my Duolingo app tutorials. I'll also be updating the code on Patreon. You can check out the code from there if you actually need it. But it's a very simple code. You can simply follow this tutorial and copy this code from this video. So next, I am going to create the onboarding screen, which is basically an onboarding view that is going to present all of these elements onto the screen. So let's create a body of this view, and we are going to create a tab view in which we are going to iterate this onboarding data that we have created. Next, I'm going to create an image, and below that I'm going to write the title text along with the description text to complete the onboarding view. After that, we are going to basically add a slider at the bottom of the screen. That is a little bit more complicated, and I'm going to show you that in a while, so follow all of these steps. So next, I'm going to show you some of the steps of how you can use some custom fonts here. So here I have copied a custom font inside my fonts folder. You are going to make sure that it is copied inside this copy bundle resources. It's mentioned there. And after that, I'm going to apply the font here. And after application, you are also going to check that it should be present inside the info.plist property file. So I'm going to show you how we are going to add it there as well. So inside the fonts provided by application, I'm going to add all of those fonts that I want to use. If there are any extra fonts, you can simply delete those from the folder. If you are using the system fonts or the built-in fonts, you do not need to follow any of those steps. So in your learning process, you can simply use the system fonts. But if you are creating actual apps, then you are going to use whatever custom fonts that are present inside your design. I'm also going to paste the link of this font inside the description box. You can download from there. After that, I am going to call this onboarding screen so that I'll be able to see that what we have created so far. So this is the onboarding screen that we have created so far. It's not swiping due to some of the changes that I have missed, which I'm going to add now. Next, I'm going to add the animation that is going to apply the animation whenever our current page changes inside the view model. So this is how we are going to apply the tab view style, a tag that is very important when you are using a tab view, and then an animation. After that, I'm going to create the bottom slider view. You have seen it in a lot of apps. So basically the idea is to create three circles, or the circles equal to the number of pages inside your onboarding view. And after that, we are going to create a rectangle which will be Z stacked on the top of those circles. And that rectangle is going to be moved from one place to another. So it feels like there is a rectangle in between and that is moving. You can also create more fun effects on the slider to provide a little bit of animation to the user while swiping the onboarding screens. So here I've created a Z stack. I'm going to align it in the center, obviously, because we want the dots to be aligned on the center of the screen. After that, I'm going to create an H stack that is going to contain the three circles. Next, I'm going to use the slider view inside my main onboarding screen view so that we are going to see that what we have created so far. The rectangle is not visible because we have not created it yet. And next we are going to add it to our slider view to see that how it swipes across the circles. You just have to keep the track of the values, some of the values like offset, y offset, x offset, and how much the distance that offset should contain for the rectangle to move from one dot to another. So you have seen here the dots are appearing, but there is not a distance between them. So we can add here some of the spacing and a frame height to our image to improve the view. So let's apply these changes and see that how they are reflected inside our view. Now the view looks much better. Next, here I'm going to use the geometry reader, which is going to help us to calculate the offset. It also depends on the size of the dots that we have already created, along with the width of the and height of the screen. Whatever basically parameter of the screen that you are using, we are going to get it through the geometry reader and a reader object in it. You can read more about geometry reader on the SwiftUI documentation to understand how it works, and it is quite an effective tool to handle the changing screen sizes and adjusting your view according to that. So here I've created the rounded rectangle. I'm going to give it a color, a frame width and a height, and an offset. You can play around with the offset value to see that how it affects the navigation on the dots of this rounded rectangle. So let's apply a frame to adjust the rectangle on the top of the dots, and then we are going to add a little bit of an offset to our offset value to adjust it on the top of a dot instead of slightly towards the right. So this is all for this tutorial. Do not forget to like and share this video, subscribe to my channel, and if there are any queries, post in the comment section. Thanks a lot for the support and thanks for watching.